TESOL International Convention 2021. On behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to thank you so much for your participation and contribution to our annual convention success. We are Namphung from Hanoi National University of Education and Tu Chang from the university, and we will be the presentations moderators today. We are delighted to see all of you in light of virtual presence today, especially in this live workshop. We do hope that all of you will be able to have some valuable knowledge and experience and takeaways following the talk. Before the presentation, there are a few considerations. In case you have any questions or concerns about the presentation, please feel free to leave them in either comment section on the live stream or chat box in Zoom so that we can gather the question for easy response in the 5 to 10 minutes Q&A session. We greatly welcome Mr. Anton from University of Fire Prevention and Fighting in 30 minutes live workshop, which is entitled From Teachers Learning to Teaching Practice in the Classroom Level, a qualitative study of EFL teachers at a university under the Ministry of Public Security. About our presenter, Ms. Anchen is the Dean of Faculty of Basic Science and English, University of Fire Prevention and Fighting. He teaches General English and English for Fire and Skill. His main research interest is EFL teachers' professional development. Please welcome Mr. Anchen from University of Fire Prevention and Fighting.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let me introduce myself. My name is An, and I'm English teacher at the University of Fire Prevention and Fighting under the Ministry of Public Security. It's my great honor to be here and present my study entitled From Teachers Learning to Teaching Practice in the Classroom Level. And here, the outline of my presentation, we consist of 5 main parts: introduction, some literature review related to my study, methodology of my study, and some findings and discussion. And the last one is the implication and some limitations of my study. First of all, you know that according to Borg 2018, it has been widely recognized that enhancing teachers' competence is one of the keys to improvement of education quality, while teachers' professional development plays a crucial part in improving teachers' competence. And specifically, this issue has received growing prominence in many institutions under the Ministry of Public Security towards the long-term objectives for practitioners, including EFL teachers, in developing their professionalism. From my own experience of working as an EFL teacher at the university, I have encountered many difficulties in accessing BD and adopting the outcomes of these activities, these programs into my practice. Maybe because of some distinct features of teaching in the armed force. You can imagine that how it is like when you teach in the armed force university. However, little research has been conducted to examine the extent of applicability in terms of EFL teachers' exposure to professional development opportunities in support of their teaching pedagogies. To address this gap, this study aims to explore the internally MBS PD as well as the PD's impacts on the EFL teachers' pedagogical implementations. First of all, I think it should be very useful to define what teacher PD is. A variety of definition of teacher PD has been given, but I think this one by day 1999 it is appropriate for my study. It illustrates the comprehensive picture of PD process, which is appropriate for my study. You can see the key words in the definition I have underlined. In this definition, PD activities encompass all formal, informal, top-down, and self-initiated activities undertaken by teachers. The objectives of engaging in opportunities, the benefits of PD for the teachers, for the institution, and for the larger institution. And also the process of individual work and collaboration. And the last one is very important, that is the continuity of PD, that is throughout the teacher's teaching lives. Now let's talk about effective PD. What is this like? In reviewing various researchers' suggested models of effective PD, I have found some shared elements as follows. PD should focus on content knowledge and pedagogical skills. And PD should promote teachers' active learning. Darling-Hammond 2017 defines teacher active learning as moving away from traditional learning models that are generic, lecture-based, toward models that engage teachers directly in the practices they are learning. And next, PD should be coherent. This means their consistency between what teachers learn, their knowledge, beliefs, or between the educational reforms, policies, and what PD involves. The fourth one, PD should support teachers' collaboration. Involving a sharing of knowledge among educators, focus on teachers' communities of practice rather than on individual teachers. And the last one, PD should have sustained duration. PD has to be of sustained duration, including sufficient contact hours and extended subsequent period time for practical application, teacher reflection, and discussion. And I've done some review of some empirical studies on PD, focusing on two areas, the form of PD and the impact of PD on teachers' practice. In terms of the forms of PD, studies on the teachers' reported engagement in various contexts revealed some differences. But in general, they share some main features, such as PDs are formal, informal activities, individual and collective work, top-down and self-initiated. And also, it seems that the teachers show their preference for formal and school-based activities. And in terms of impacts on teachers, the practice, the researchers have come to the consensus that PD can result in the changes in classroom practice, or PD leads to little change in classroom practice, or even PD leads to no change at all in the classroom practice. And I think that we have mixed results of the study on this area. So it come to the gaps in the previous study. Most of the study focused on school EFL teachers, and little research has been conducted on EFL teachers PD at higher educational institutions, especially those with unique features like the university in the police force. And another gap is the study are central on investigating the impacts of a single PD program, a PD model, or specific PD activity, rather than a combination of different activities. And last, there is a scarcity of research on the sustainability of PD impacts on teachers' classroom practice. So the gaps bring me to my research questions, which will be answered in this study. The first one is, what professional development activities have the participants engaged in? What are the perceived impacts of this engagement to their classroom teaching practice? and what factors affect the impact of mentioned PD activities on the participants' teaching practice. In terms of research methodology, the first one, it is the research setting. In my study, that is the university belongs to the Ministry of Public Security. Unlike other civil counterparts, which are regulated by the policy of the Ministry of Education and Training, my university functions in accordance with policies issued by both the Ministry of Education and Training and the Ministry of Public Securities. So that's why the PD for EFL teachers in my university are similar in some perspectives to other institutions out of the public security force, but they are different in others. The participants in these studies are the 6 EFL teachers having the 6 to 16 years of teaching experience at the university, and they teach GE and ESP. To maintain the anonymity of the participants, they were assigned the identification numbers from teacher number 1 to teacher number 6, because maybe they may not eager, or they may not ready to answer some of the questions, but may be sensitive. And for the data collection, this is our mini-scale study. So just use semi-structured interviews to collect the data. And this semi-structured interview was conducted through Zoom platform because of the COVID-19. And it is conducted in Vietnamese, even though the teachers are our own EFL teachers, but to make sure that we can elaborate on their engagement activities, and we may avoid some of the misunderstandings. And so that's why we conducted it in Vietnamese. And with the data sets, the recording was transcribed and translated into English by the author, who is proficient both in English and Vietnamese. And the data was then coded and analyzed into themes. And from their data analysis, we have some findings in accordance with the 3 research questions. For research question number 1, the data from the interview show that the teacher had involved in various types of PD activities. In terms of the first category, all of the participant teachers reported that they had attended several training courses and workshops organized by both the Ministry of Public Security and the university. And the second one, class appraisals were undertaken among the participants as a compulsory PD activities. All of them had participated in the teacher appraising activities conducted as teaching contest, which may not be familiar to some of the teachers teaching at the university, but may be very familiar with those who teach at the secondary and primary school. And also, they had their lesson observed and evaluated by the board of expert teachers, and 2 teachers had attended the ministerial level teaching contest to compete with other representative teachers from their universities under the MPS. Pursuing higher education was also reported by all interviewees as a way for them to develop professionally. Although for some of them, studying for master's degree was a requisite to be a lecturer, and the content is of little practical value. Another mandated PD activities reviewed by teachers were visiting other universities where they could observe the teachers' lessons, like teacher 2 said, or update with current teaching methods, like teacher 3's idea, and discuss issues pertaining to teaching and establish rapport with other teachers there. That's one shared by teacher number 1. And being a member in a community of practice was the most frequent and preferred PD form among the participants. All of the teachers emphasize the experience acquired from exchanging ideas of instructional techniques with their peers in the faculty. For example, according to teacher number one, the faculty maintain the peer observation followed by professional discussion in groups to enable teachers sharing their views on each other's classroom practice. And the last one is doing research is the least popular PD activities with only 2 participants responding that they conducted research on issues closely related to their practice as a former PD. And for the second research question, general PD activities were viewed to have positive effects on the teacher's classroom performance in terms of confidence in using classroom English, class management skills, and the adoption of information and communication technology in the classroom. And they also know how to use the motivational strategies in the class. And they reported the improved student centeredness and differentiated teaching. By differentiated teaching, it means that teachers know how to cater for different individual students' needs and abilities. Here are some of their excerpts from their participant responses. Like in the teacher number 6, after many years of attending the training courses, pursuing PD at the university, I have learned to deliver class activities in varied and flexible ways, applying ICT, adopting techniques from PD activities to better manage the class, better interacting with students, enacting activity to suit individual students, and adapting activity in textbook. So there are a wide range of areas, the perspective of the profession that the teachers have reported the impacts of the PD on. And also from the finding, we found out that there some source of PD activities like training course, teacher appraisal, pursuing higher degrees, and doing research are of limited impacts on their teachers, especially on their classroom practice. And they also reported the major impacts of informal and classroom-based learning as being a member of community of practice, just like 3 excerpts from 3 teachers. Teacher 1 emphasized the important role of colleagues in her PD. I learned a lot from the peers who I admire. They are committed to the job, competent in expertise, and ambitious. So they all share very positive impacts in terms of their being a member of a community of practice. And the last question, research question, we have the answer, like the factor that impeding the teacher's adoption of innovation obtained from PD activities in the classroom. According to teacher 5, the training courses and workshop fail to align teachers' practical needs and focus on transmitting knowledge without allowing sufficient time for teacher application and reflection. And I think this support Kennedy's 2006 view that top-down one-size-fits-all approach is criticized by researchers for its limited effectiveness for imposing innovation on the teachers with little attention to how to integrate them into existing classroom practices. And there was a consensus among participants that banning students to use mobile devices greatly hinder their adoption of applying ICT and the enactment of interactive learning activity in the classroom. Additionally, all the classroom were under surveillance using CCTV camera system. And I think it's not very popular in other tertiary higher education institution. Like in yours here, but in my university and some other university in the MBS, all the classroom are observed by CCTV system. And the students also another factor. Most of students at university were viewed by the teachers to be insufficiently motivated, passive in learning, which resulted in their low engagement in the learning activities. This drawback may be attributed to the nature of the relationship between the teachers and the student in the armed force. So the teachers act as the commander and the student serve the role of the soldiers. So they supposed to be obedient in the classroom. And facility for teaching and learning is also another factor. Inappropriate language laboratories, arrangement of tables and benches in the classroom, and the lack of devices for language teachings and learning are among the problems raised by the participants. So from the findings, we can come to some implication for the teacher PD. Teacher PD programs need to, the finding from study help to inform the leaders and the administrators involving teachers PD in the MPS. Firstly, any PD program needs to be varied and differentiated, with individual teachers' needs being considered. And secondly, it is important to promote teachers' collaboration. As argued by scholars like Deluca, Bowden, Tran, 2017, collaborative professional inquiry is beneficial in developing teachers' pedagogical knowledge and skills, thus improving their teaching and student learning, and developing a learning community, creating opportunities for teachers' leadership. And the last one, a favorable working climate should be created. By favorable working climate, I mean the university and the faculty leader encourage teachers' autonomy in adoption of innovation, and should be created in teachers' translation of knowledge and skill acquired from PD can either be facilitated or hindered by a number of contextual factors. So I think this is very important for their enactment of what they learned from PD programs into their classroom. And some limitation and also suggestion for further study. I think that in the future, it is recommended that the further research should be conducted to enlarge more holistic pictures of PD for EFL teachers in the MPS. For example, a large number of participants, which may include other stakeholders in the PD, like administrator, students from this institution in the MPS, should be taken into consideration into the participant of the study. And also, we should use various other instruments to collect data, especially classroom observation, because we are dealing with the teachers' enactment in the classroom. So I think classroom observation should be very useful. And so thank you very much for your attention, and I would highly appreciate your comments so that I can improve the current study as well as my future research. And I'm very happy to answer your questions. Thank you.
So we would like to share our big thanks for your great presentation. Now we are happy to receive any questions that you may have for our presenter.
Thank you, Mr. Anjan. I would like to have 2 questions, please, because I'm a university. Yeah, I'm also a university lecturer as well. So I would like to so interested in the teacher PD. First of all, I would like to ask you that what is the differences between the teacher? I'm sorry. What is the differences in teacher PD between a university under the Ministry of Public Security and another university? For example, my university is Hanoi National University of Education, and we have some differences between my university and yours. So what is the, I mean that the characteristic of the teacher PD in your university. And the second question is, should PD in your university be voluntary or compulsory, in your opinions? Thank you.
Thank you for your questions. For the first question, I think it's very interesting. Yeah, I've shared some of the unique characteristics, but I think it's not enough. I think it is a very interesting question for me, and it allowed me an opportunity to share about my context. As I said before, in the armed force, the teachers and the students are under the supervision of their some rules and some regulation in the armed force, and we are supposed to be obedient, especially the students, and that's why I think that most of the PD activities in the MBS are top down and one fits all. They are imposed on the teachers, and I think that they never take into account what are our real needs in the classroom. Maybe we share with other contexts, but I think it is more severe, more common in my context. And also, because of the time that we are assigned to we are confined to the university. You know that other teachers in the public schools and in other private schools, they have a lot of time out of the classroom, and they are free to take part in some PD activities out of the university, out of the but for me, for us, we have to work in the university 8 hours a day. So we have little chance for further study. And for the second questions, you mean it should, you raised the question that is PD better to be compulsory or as self-initiated, right? I think we should combine between teachers. I think it's on my own opinion, and also from the study, from this study. I don't have time to share with all of you the findings from the study, but most of the teachers share that they would like the combination of both, top-down PD, and they have also value the chance to take part in optional, or you say voluntary PD. For the top-down PD, they welcome the chance to be introduced to the innovation by experts from other university, especially teacher educators. They have a lot of innovations to introduce, and also they want to have they also value their voluntary PD, where they can have the collaboration, or they have their self-initiated PD initiative. So I think a combination is better. Thank you again for your questions.
Yeah, thank you very much for your answer. I have some information about, further information about your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. What about the others, please? You have any questions for me or any comments? Because you know that I'm working at the university where English is non-major subject, so we don't have much opportunities to take part in research. So this is one of my initial experience with research, and I would like very much to hear your comments so that I can improve my research skills in the future.
Okay, the audience, please. Do you have any question for our speaker?
Okay, so Mr. Anjan, I really appreciate your work and your research in this field, especially in the context that English and teaching English is not the major in your university, but I really highly appreciate your attempt in this research and the devotion in teaching English. And yet the time is not very much, but may we have the group photo now, please?
Okay. Thank you for having me here today. Thank you, moderators. Thank you for your attention.
So the audience, if you have any question, so you can email the presenter directly